What's going on, everybody? It's Pete Toll, aka PT Sports 84, back with another video. Today is March 23rd, 2023. 2K dropped the official NBA 2K23 ninth ratings update this morning. Um, just want to go ahead and let everybody know there's no retro content added. Again, no retro content's been added because I know I'm going to get a lot of the my followers that are into the retro content wondering if that was put in. It has not been added, so no retro content. It's just current players, current roster ratings update only. In my opinion, looking through, I've parsed all the data basically for who went up and down. This is a very light update, to be honest. As we go through it, you'll see there's not a lot of big names that really changed drastically or anything like that, just very minor stuff. Let's jump right into it. Only one change for the 76ers. Georges Niang goes down one, -1 to a 73 overall. Milwaukee Bucks. We've got Brooke Lopez going +1 to an 85 overall. Jay Crowder going +2 to a 78 overall, and then Grayson Allen going -1 to a 75 overall. Um, yeah, Kate, I'm gonna go back through once I get done with each team and just what changed to my personal opinions on what should have changed. We got DeMar DeRozan for the Chicago Bulls going +1 to an 88 overall, +1 for Zach LaVine to a 87 overall. Kobe White goes +1 to a 75 overall. Cleveland Cavaliers, Karis LeVert +1 to a 77 overall. Jetty Osman +1 to a 75 overall. Jason Tatum -1 for the Boston Celtics to a 94 overall. -1 for Malcolm Brogdon to an 82 overall. LA Clippers, Ivica Zubac +2 to an 81 overall. And then -1 to a 74 overall for Nick Batum. Memphis Grizzlies, Desmond Bain -1 to an 84 overall. Tyus Jones +1 to an 80 overall. Xavier Tillman +1 to a 78. And then we have John Conchar -2 to a 72 overall. Atlanta Hawks, DeJounte Murray -1 to an 84 overall. John Collins -1 to an 80. Aneka Kongwu actually did not change. I need to fix that on there. I don't know why I had that on the list. Let me just change that real quick on Operation Sports. You can go over to Operation Sports if you want to look at the written changes and just kind of see who went up and down. As far as the official ratings go, I try to do a written portion of it just to show who would have went up and down in case anybody wants to be able to reference it later. That's it for the Atlanta Hawks. We've got the Miami Heat. We have Jimmy Butler going +1 to a 93 overall. And then Kyle Lowry and Kevin Love both going -1 to a 76 overall. Charlotte Hornets, Gordon Hayward goes down 1 to a 79 overall. Nick Richards, who just got a contract extension. The contract extension's not in. He goes +1 to a 78 overall. Dennis Smith Jr. goes -1 to a 74 overall. One of the biggest movers in this update, we get Walker Kessler going +2 to an 83 overall. He also has a a badge added. Excuse me. The anchor badge added to him. Taylor Horton Tucker goes +2 to a 78 overall. Ochai Agbaji goes +2 to a 77. Chris Dunn goes +1 to a 75. And then Simone Fontecchio goes +1 to a 74 overall. So the Jazz got some love in this update. We got Sacramento Kings +1 for Malik Monk to an 80. And then -1 for Harrison Barnes to a 79. It seems like every update, Barnes is going up or down one. it is what it is for them. Emmanuel Quickly for the New York Knicks, +1 to an 82. -2 for Mitchell Robinson to an 80 overall. +1 for Josh Hart to a 79. And then finally, Miles McBride gets an update. He goes +2 to a 73 overall. LA Lakers. Austin Reeves has really been hooping lately. Goes +1 to a 79. No badges added, though. Lonnie Walker goes -1 to a 76. We have the Orlando Magic, Wendell Carter Jr. and Markelle Fultz both go +1 to an 82 overall. We have the Dallas Mavericks. We have +1 for Reggie Bullock. We have Jaden Hardy, also been playing well. He is, I think, if I've got to go back and look, but I think he's actually the overall biggest mover, +3 in this update to a 76 overall. Really been hooping the last, 9 games for them. Maxi Kleba goes +1 to a 75. Brooklyn Nets, we have -1 for Dorian Finney-Smith to a 77. And Cam Thomas cooled off over the past couple weeks. He's -1 to a 77 as well. Jamal Murray for the Denver Nuggets goes -1 to an 84 overall. -1 for Thomas Bryant. And also -1 for Bruce Brown. They're both now a 76 overall. Indiana Pacers, Aaron Nesmith +1 to a 77. +1 for Andrew Nembhard, who's also been really playing well with Tyrese Halliburton out of the lineup. They both go +1 to a 77. And then Jordan Nwora goes +1 to a 76. New Orleans Pelicans, we have Trey Murphy III +1 to a 79. And then -1 for Josh Richardson to a 76. Detroit Pistons, a couple changes for them. -1 for Jaden Ivey to an 80 overall. +3, another big mover, James Wiseman to an 80 overall. Really been playing well as a starter in Detroit. Couple of downgrades. RJ Hampton goes -1. Just one downgrade, I should say. -1 for him to a 74. A couple of upgrades, I meant. Corey Joseph and Eugene Amarui both go +1 to a 74. And then Rodney McGruder goes +2 to a 73 overall. Toronto Raptors, we get Pascal Siakam -1. OG Anunoby +1 to an 82. Siakam's now an 86 overall. And then Jakob Poeltl goes +1 to an 81 overall. Houston Rockets, another big mover, Jabari Smith Jr. +3 to a 79 overall. And then they also added DJ Augustine to the roster. San Antonio Spurs, we have Keldon Johnson goes +1 to an 83. Devin Vassell goes -1 to an 81. Zach Collins +2 to a 79. Jeremy Sohan goes +1 to a 78. Gorgui Dieng, all the way down here, goes -1 to a 73. Sandro Mamukelashvili goes +2 to a 73. And then we have Blake Wesley +1 to a 72. Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker gets a +1 to a 92. +1 for Cameron Payne to a 77. And then -1 for TJ Warren to a 77. No changes for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'll go through that in just a moment. We have Minnesota Timberwolves. Jaden McDaniels +1 to a 79. -1 for Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Portland Trailblazers. Cam Reddish goes -1 to a 75. Also a 75 -2 is Nasir Little. Golden State Warriors +1 for JaMychal Green to a 77. And then Jonathan Kuminga +1 to a 77 as well. Wrapping up the ratings changes, we have the Washington Wizards. Daniel Gafford goes -1 to a 77. -1 also for DeLon Wright to a 77. +1 for Corey Kispert to a 77. And then finally, Denny Advia -1 to a 76. There were some position updates. Let me go through those before I start going through my feedback on the overall roster. We have position changes for Lamar Stevens to power forward. We have Kai Jones to backup center. Utah Jazz, Juan Toscano Anderson to small forward. Johnny Juzang to shooting guard. Sacramento Kings, we have Keon Ellis to shooting guard and Kessler Edwards to small forward. Dallas Mavericks get a couple changes. Justin Holiday to small forward. Markieff Morris to center. We have AJ Lawson to shooting guard. And Theo Pinson to power forward. Brooklyn Nets get a position change for David Duke Jr. to small forward. Denver Nuggets, Christian Braun to small forward, and then Bruce Brown to shooting guard. We have the Detroit Pistons for some position changes. We have Buddy Boeheim to small forward and Jared Rhoden to power forward. Moving over to the San Antonio Spurs, couple changes for them. Appreciate everybody watching. Just real quick, I don't know what's going on with my chat. For some reason, it's all scrambled. So anybody that's messaged, hey, what's going on? Thank you for the support. I don't know what's going on, but basically every message possible just hit it once on my screen, and then it was all garbled together. So if anybody messaged me anything, I apologize. I'm not ignoring you. It just all came in at once. For whatever reason, PlayStation decided to jumble everything together. But hey, hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for the support and watching. If you've enjoyed this video so far, please hit the like button. It definitely helps support me for sure. Continuing on, position changes. San Antonio Spurs, Julian Champagnie to small forward. And then we got Keita Bates-Diop to power forward. And then Minnesota Timberwolves, we have a couple changes. Taurean Prince to small forward. And then we have Nathan Knight to power forward. Last set of position changes goes to Golden State. We have Anthony Lamb to small forward. Moses Moody to shooting guard. And then Andre Iguodala to power forward. Okay. Now, let me dive into my feedback. Again, there's no retro content. Anybody that's just tuning in that didn't hear the message in the beginning, there's no retro content added. I've asked. I don't know when it's coming. I'll shoot a message over maybe today and just see if maybe something's coming before the end of the year. I'm not sure. But just wanted to give my feedback on the roster, the ratings update. This is kind of who I think could have went up or down that wasn't really touched in the update. I feel like, in my opinion, Montrezl Harrell is out of the rotation. There's no reason he should be a 76 overall. There's also no reason that Dwayne Dedmon, who barely plays, literally 3 points a game, 2 rebounds, isn't even in the rotation, was getting spot minutes. Neither one of those should be above PJ Tucker, no matter how much PJ Tucker's been limited offensively this season. They should definitely be a 74 or below, for sure. I don't get the system that they're using for these bench players at center. They're just overinflated ratings, to be honest. That's just my opinion, as a consumer. So I thought they could bump up Myers Leonard just a tad. Obviously, he's not, world in stats or anything like that, but every time he gets in, he's knocking down a three. He's playing, solid defense. Limited minutes, but you could at least put him on par with Thanasis Antetokounmpo, who's also a 72. At least get him lined up there as far as that goes. I thought Bobby Portis maybe could have went up one. Portis has been averaging 15 and 9 on 55% field goal percentage, 44% from three over the past 7 games. Going over to the Bulls, I don't know how Patrick Beverley didn't get an update. 8.7 rebounds, 4 assists, 39% from three. Great defense. I don't know how he didn't go a +1. DDT, Horford went up to an 80 in the last ratings update, which was like March 9th. um, yep. So, and I don't know how Andre Drummond's still a 78. He's barely been like contributing offensively. Defensively, he gives up a lot of points. Um, I don't know. I don't get it. With some of the overall stuff. I mean, I thought the Cavaliers they did okay with the guys that they bumped, but I thought that Lamar Stevens could have got a +1 bump there because he's averaging 8 points, 4 rebounds, 50% from the floor, 42% from three since the last ratings update. Boston Celtics, they still have Blake Griffin at a 75. To me, there's no purpose in this. Griffin should at least be on par with Cornette at a 74. Like, they've got to figure out that their formula for centers is not working and update that next year. Also, the formulas for shooting guard needs to be revamped. Those two positions, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes as far as how they're rated, but they're rated not well for the current NBA. They're rated okay for, back in the 2000s, mid 2000s, late, 2010s, things like that. But the game has changed over the past 6 years, and there needs to be a change to those two positions for sure. Where I have my first major gripe is Kawhi Leonard. I thought he could go +1. He's averaging 29, 7, and 3 on 55% field goal percentage, 43% from three. No update for him. They did a good job with Zubac. I thought that was warranted. 15 and 11 on 63% field goal percentage. That's why he went up. I thought that Eric Gordon could go up. 12 points a game on 50% field goal percentage, 48% from three. At least a +1 because Bones Highland's not even in the rotation. And right now, if you started in my career, he would play above him. And then you're looking at Gordon at a 76, but then Terrence Mann is a 78, averaging 9 points a game on 14% 3-point percentage since the last update. I mean, you got to be watching the games to know what's going on, but at the same time, you can look at the data and be able to discern who's been playing well and who hasn't. But it is what it is. Looking at it looking at the Memphis Grizzlies, Luke Kennard just can't get an update. 10 points a game, 49% field goal percentage, 47 from three. Obviously, he's not out there for his defense, but he's a secondary ball handler and shooter. At least get him a 76. David Roddy, 11 points a game, 54% from the floor, 43% from three, and he doesn't get an update. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why he doesn't get anything there overall. You could look at Kenneth Lofton Jr. played a couple games. He averaged 6 points on 58% field goal percentage, 57% from three. Obviously, minor minutes. But if you wanted to, you could have bumped him up because they did bump up Kennedy Chandler in the past. So, give the same love to Kenneth Lofton Jr. Atlanta Hawks. I get Murray's been struggling shooting the ball under Quinn Snyder, but he's also been hurt. John Collins, hit or miss, basically. I thought overall this is a decent update. Trae Young, 28 and 10, 50% from the floor, 46 from three. Defense has been slightly improved under Quinn Snyder, but overall, the Hawks haven't looked much better. So I don't fault anything at all there. But I do fault when you have Bruno Fernando, who's not in the rotation at all, ahead of somebody like Jalen Johnson, who was actually playing and is a favorite of Quinn Snyder. That shouldn't be happening. AJ Griffin was getting limited time. He's back in the rotation now with Johnson out with the hamstring injury. So, no major changes that really for the Hawks that I disagree with. Miami Heat. You can look at Max Strus, 10 points a game. You could leave him at a 75, I guess. Gabe Vincent's been playing well. He's not shooting it well. That's why he didn't go up. Again, another case of an overinflated center. Omer Yurtseven, 2 points a game out of the rotation. He should not be ahead of other guys. He should not be on par with Strus and Vincent for sure. Um, Good for them getting Jimmy Butler, who's averaging 28, 6, and 4, 59% from the floor since the last update. And just to preface, the last update goes from the update came out on March 9th. They don't count the games before. So the update would be from March the 8th through the games on March 21st. So they didn't count yesterday's games into today's ratings update, just like they didn't count the Wednesday games from the previous update. So that's basically 3/8 to 3/21's games, and that's the data they're going off of. Charlotte Hornets. I don't know what PJ Washington's done to 2K, but 15 points, 5 rebounds. He doesn't shoot it great from the floor, but you can at least get him a bump. They've really bumped Nick Richards as much as possible, as often as possible. I don't understand. I don't understand the drop for Dennis Smith Jr. He's averaging 9 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. The field goal percentage is down at 36%, but he's doing everything well for the team. I don't get that why he wouldn't have gone up one rather than down one. Just my personal opinion. JT Thor has been in the rotation, averaging 6 points, 3 rebounds, 58% from the floor, 38% from three. They didn't even touch him. It doesn't. It just frustrates me because the lower tier guys in the rotation are the guys that never get touched for 2-3 years at a time based on past examples. And that's another example. Like he's not ever like nobody's ever gonna know about JT Thor. Like if you're just a casual NBA fan, but at the same time, like he deserves the recognition to get that upgrade. Um, Udoka Azubuike's been in the rotation lately. He should be ahead of Damian Jones as far as ratings go. They did get Fontecchio and Dunn up as far as ratings go. I thought Rudy Gay has struggled, only 7 points a game on 35% from the floor, 31% from three. That deserved a downgrade, in my opinion. They did good about getting the update for Kessler. I think Kessler now is going to be a little overinflated slightly because he didn't really match up badges to go with his ratings overall. But it is what it is. Sacramento Kings, I could tell they didn't really watch the Kings. They're just going off of percentage data. Harrison Barnes goes down. Like, I, I don't understand that. Like, Malik Monk had a big time funk a while ago. He's back to semi normal. But Terrence Davis is in a real bad funk. 4 points a game, 38% from the floor. He is shooting it well from three, 39%, but they won't. They didn't downgrade him. Chimezie Metu, 4 points a game, 2 rebounds, 47% field goal percentage. Kind of sporadic playing time. Out of the rotation for Richaun Holmes, all three of those dudes should have went down one. Alex Len has been awful all season. You know how he didn't go down one. He's out of the rotation. Davion Mitchell's been shooting it poor from the field. PJ Dozier, 2 points a game, 2 rebounds, not even in the rotation, but he's ahead of Kessler Edwards, who's been playing in the rotation, starting, 2 games, plus in the rotation for 5 games, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 52% from the floor, 39% from three. His defense has been the reason why he's in the rotation, but they don't update him. They update his position, but they didn't bother to update his rating. New York Knicks, they still have Jericho Sims, way inflated. Hasn't played since the All-Star break. He was a feel-good story for a little bit, but he's not going to be playing over Hartenstein or Robinson. And then you got Derrick Rose, still overinflated as well. 2 minutes in one game since February 16th. It's not going to get it done. The Lakers, where I kind of have a gripe is you upped Austin Reeves, but you add no badges. to him. They still have Dennis Schroeder, kind of low, 14 points a game, 43% from the floor, 38% from three. Thought he could go up one. You go Mo Bamba, who's been sporadic all season, at a 77. Come on, man. Like Schroeder's like should be a little higher. Um, we have Troy Brown Jr. They never update him. 7 points a game, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 41% from the floor, 38% from three. At least bump him plus one. Come on. It took you long enough to bump him plus two previously. I guess it's going to take another, till 2K24 to get him bumped up there. It is what it is with the Lakers. Orlando Magic, Mo Wagner is overinflated. 8 points a game, 4 rebounds, 50% from the floor. He's not a 78 overall. He's just not. Bol has been playing awful. 3 points a game, 4 rebounds on 43% shooting. Not a guy that is putting up efficient numbers for sure. They both should have went down. Goga Batazde is still a 75 despite averaging 2 points, 4 rebounds, 27% field goal percentage. Not going to get it done either. Jalen Suggs, 13 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 44% from the floor, 35% from three. No upgrade for him. Moving on to the Dallas Mavericks, we have Josh Green, 15 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 54% from the floor, 38% from three since the last update. No love for him. He's actually been playing shooting guard with Kyrie out, so he should have had a position change but didn't get one. Good for them on Jaden Hardy. That was much needed. Maxi Kleber's been out there for his defense, not his offense. They still have JaVale McGee overinflated, 76 overall for him, so he's higher than Kleber, so he would play if you started on my career tomorrow, which still doesn't make sense that they have McGee that high. Nets, Cam Thomas has struggled, only averaging 6 points a game, 37% from the floor, 31% from three. They dropped Cam Thomas, but they don't touch Joe Harris, who's averaging 3 points a game on 32% from the floor, 29% from three, or Yuta Watanabe, who's averaging 29%, 2 points on 29% field goal percentage. They didn't touch either one of them. Doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. Denver Nuggets, pretty much everything was okay with them. Like nothing major that was missed overall. Pacers, they pretty much covered everything for them. I thought Nembhard could have went up a little more. They definitely need badges for Nembhard, for sure. There's lots of players that need badges, sadly enough, that don't have them. For the Pelicans, Larry Nance Jr. has literally been averaging 3 points, 3 rebounds in limited minutes since injury. I thought he could have went down. Willie Hernangomez has struggled, 5 points, limited minutes for him. 60% from the floor, though. So maybe, you can go either way with that. What's up, Johnny? Looks like messages are coming in now because Johnny's came in okay and it came in clear. So maybe PlayStation fixed what was going on. Who knows? Detroit Pistons. Interesting enough, Marvin Bagley struggled, 9 points a game, 4 rebounds, 44% from the floor. He doesn't get a downgrade. Killian Hayes, we know he ain't going to go up because they don't really care to watch games. Watch Killian Hayes, I should say. Appreciate that, DDT. 12 points a game, 9 assists per game, 40% from the floor. The shooting isn't there, but the playmaking is. He should have got a little bump. Isaiah Livers, I still don't know. Some announcers pronounce it one way, some pronounce it the other. 11 points a game on 39% from the floor. At least could have got a +1 to match Hampton and Amarui's upgrade. They did a good job with Rodney McGruder, since he's been averaging 15-6 on 48% from the floor since the last update. Toronto Raptors, this is where it gets a little interesting. Precious Achiuwa, no downgrade for him. 3 points a game, 3 rebounds on 33% from the floor, but no downgrade. Delano Banton's not even been in the rotation at all. 2 points a game, 2 assists on 36% field goal percentage since the last update. Like I said, very limited minutes, but no downgrade. Thad Young doesn't even average a point and 1 rebound and barely playing, but yet he's a 76 overall. Chris Boucher, 6 points a game, 4 rebounds on 55% from the floor. He doesn't get a downgrade either. Like, Toronto's been awful, in games. Like, they're not even. I don't even know what to say. Like, they'll make probably the play in, but it's not because they've been good. It's because the East has been weak. Kevin Porter Jr., 20 points a game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists on 44% field goal percentage, 34% from three. But he doesn't get an upgrade. Jabari Smith gets an upgrade. Jabari Smith's been averaging 18-9 on 50% from the floor, 41% from three. That's why he got upgraded. Frank Kaminsky's not even a part of the rotation, never plays, but he's still a 75. 20% from the floor, 1 point a game, 1 rebound since becoming a Rocket. It's terrible. Usman Garuba, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 35% from the floor. He does not get a downgrade either. Actually, I think he might have got a -1 now that I think about it. Now that I'm looking, I'm just going to double check. Garuba, let's see, Houston Rockets. Garuba did get a downgrade, so I do need to update that on the sheet. I missed that one when I was doing my initial run through. It seems like I always miss one or two players whenever I'm going through, just because the up or down plus ones and all that stuff gets a little bit, where it runs all together. But yeah, -1 for Garuba. If you're going to do -1 for Garuba, you got to do -1 for Kaminsky. But I guess 2K thought otherwise with their update. Let's jump to the Spurs. I thought Doug McDermott's been playing well. 14 a game, 54% field goal percentage, 62% from three. No upgrade for him. Yeah, I don't get it, Hugo. That baffled me. Everybody else seemed okay as far as who got upgraded, who didn't. I mean, Keldon Johnson, 25 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists on 48% from the floor, 44% from three. Deserved that upgrade. Zach Collins, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 55% from the floor, 50% from three. Definitely deserved the upgrade. He got. What I don't get is when they do these updates and they get these guys' attributes, why they're not adding some badges here and there. Like, if you're updating the guy already, just update the badges as you go, and then you can basically kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Chandra Mamakalasvili, 8 points, 8 rebounds in the rotation lately, so he definitely deserved to go up. One thing that puzzled me is Josh Okogie's been awful lately, especially shooting the ball. I'm surprised he didn't go down. I thought TJ Warren not even being in the rotation warranted a little bit more of a downgrade. Landry Shamet, just now coming back from injury. I thought that he should have been a 76 to begin with, just to match Terrence Ross, but I guess not enough data to upgrade him overall. I'm glad to see Booker got the +1 at least. Looking at OKC, I don't get how you don't have badges still for Jalen Williams. As much playmaking as he's able to do on the floor, besides the variety of ways that he can score, you don't get him any badges. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Isaiah Joe has only averaged 9 points a game, but struggled from the floor, 36 and 34 from the field and from three. I thought he deserved a downgrade. I thought he was overrated to begin with, especially not having any badges. Like, if you're going to have like one of the better 3-point percentage shooters in the NBA with no badges, that does nothing gameplay wise. Dario Saric struggled a little bit, 5 and 3 on 36% from the floor. Thought he should go down. Trey Mann, I don't know what he has to do to go up. 9 points a game, 40% from three. Thought he could at least get a 75. Jeremiah Robinson Earl's not even in the rotation. 3 points a game, 4 rebounds, 43% from the floor. It is what it is there. Jared Butler is still a 74. You can't really, when you have two-way players, unless they're consistently outperforming the two-way slot better than a rotation player, you can't have a guy 74 overall matching your backup point guard. So I thought he deserved a downgrade just based off of that. Austin Rivers has been awful over the past month. He is only averaging 1 point on 25% from the floor, 27 from 3. No downgrade, though. DDT, the thing with badges is it's a whole different dev. It's public knowledge Zach Timmerman is the badge dev. You can look it up. It's right there on Twitter, so it's not anything that I'm putting out there that's inside info. He's the one that coordinates the badges. Whether he's the one that inputs them, I'm not sure, but he oversees the badge strengths and things like that. So when it comes to equipping and unequipping badges, I suspect he has, all the say in the world. Maybe, it's a collective effort between him and the roster team. I'm not sure. But the badges definitely need tweaking for sure. A lot of players need badges, and the star players need tweaking to some of their badges, but is what it is. I'm surprised with the Blazers. Yusuf Nurkic hasn't gone down. Only 9.6 rebounds on 46% from the floor. Definitely struggled. Trendon Watford, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists on the same field goal percentage. But he doesn't go up. Shaden Sharp went off last game. They didn't count it last night's games. Cam Reddish has been struggling. Hasn't really asserted himself like a lot of people, including myself, thought. Drew Eubanks, 5.6 rebounds. You could leave him at a 77, but if you're going to leave him at 77, you got to put Watford up. I thought he deserved to go down, and Watford deserved to go up 1, down 1 for Eubanks, up 1 for Watford. That would have sufficed. And then Kevin Knox II, has been playing, but they haven't touched his attributes in a long time. Golden State Warriors, Jonathan Kuminga, they got that one right. Iguodala is still overinflated. Iguodala is not a 75. Only averaged 3 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists on 38% from the floor. He's now out for the season with the wrist surgery. I thought that Ty Jerome could have went down only 6 points on 33% from the floor. Anthony Lamb could have went up. He's been a consistent part of the rotation. 9 points a game, 4 rebounds, 50% from the floor, 33% from 3. But no change. Iguodala kind of played a variety of positions. He has played center in the past. Power forward, small forward, and small ball center in very, very small minutes. I guess that's why that went with center there. Going to the Washington Wizards, I thought Monte Morris could have went down 9 points a game, 43% from the floor, only 4 assists. So, not looking great there. I'm glad they knocked down DeLon Wright, who's been struggling. Corey Kispert got his deserved upgrade, and then Daniel Gafford's been struggling as well. Looking at this team, Johnny Davis has been playing well. He didn't deserve an upgrade because he hasn't done enough to upgrade past the 72, but he's looked okay. Excuse me, with renewed aggressiveness overall. But it is what it is. Watch it. It's interesting because Spencer Dinwiddie just did an interview with Taylor Rooks, where he was talking about they didn't know which way they were going with the Wizards franchise when he was there. Still the case because they have no idea what's going to happen with Kuzma. You don't really have a starting caliber point guard, in my opinion. You don't really have a starting caliber center because Porzingis is the power forward now. You've got to develop a bench, which they don't have. They never seem to get draft picks correct. So it is what it is. But um, yeah, so that's my opinion on the roster update. I thought, those were the changes. A little bit surprised OKC got nothing in this update whatsoever. Some attribute values may have changed, um, but I know it's been recommended overall for me to show the numbers for the update. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to go through each of the teams and just kind of go through this baseline shooting numbers at least, so that way you guys can get an idea of what may have changed. So that way, if you want to watch it back at the end of the video, you can see if anything here was able to change for each of the teams. I always forget to flip the menu to the ratings whenever I'm talking originally. So I wanted to make a point. I had it in my notes to do that, and I still forgot. So here is me just going back through, just making sure I cover that base as far as the actual attributes go. So I'm not sure. These are counting stats, so these do change, like the close, mid, and three. I'm not sure how much because I don't dive into it as much as some others do, like John Markish, the Real 2K Insider. He has a document available on Patreon. You can get it. I did not get it only for the reason that I'm not doing roster editing this year. So, John, I do support you, but that's the reason why I didn't get it. But I hope everybody would get it that wants to roster edit because there's a lot of great value there. I just don't personally have the time necessarily to do it, calculating all that stuff in or adding it in rather. So definitely support him. He also goes through the badges and upgrades that after the post that I originally posted on Operation Sports. So if you want to know who got badges and who didn't, that's the way to go. Go to Operation Sports forums. I'll post a link to my Twitter as well where you can find it and see that post, and it has everything written. That way you can get a better understanding of what's changed, creates dialogue and stuff like that, and goes from there. So lot of just basically preparing for 2K24. I think on 2K's part now that at the end of the season, because there's not a lot of change. We might get one more ratings update as far as what would that be? April 6th, I believe. And that would be like basically the last major one of the year. And then we'd get into the playoffs. There might be one more there. But outside of that, you're not going to see a lot. There is going to be a player likeness update. What goes in it, I don't know. Because the patch will come out as the new season arises for my team. But that's a couple weeks away. So just narrowing down the last little bit of ratings updates here so you can get an idea of what may have changed. A lot of the times the complaint is that 2K is only changing the intangibles rating. They're not going in and actually changing the attribute numbers for a number of players. And in the past, I've seen where that's true, and I've seen where that's not true. It just depends on the player and I guess the data that they're going over to determine whether that person needs to go up or down in overall. So, like I said, no retro content. Still looking for Caldwell Jones to be added here to the Sixers. Looking for some NBA era stuff with Mike McGee, Liddell Eccles being added. A wide variety of players to all-time teams like Marc Gasol to the Grizzlies, obviously on the historic Grizzlies team as well in the game. Jose Calderon to the all-time Raptors. So there's definitely some changes that definitely need to be made. The draft classes, who knows if they're going to ever get updated or not, but the info's been passed on. So whether that happens, out of my control. But I at least get the get the info in. You know what happened to the Keon Dooling face scan that was in? Why is it not in 2K23? They probably took out Dooling's face out of the database. What they do is they every 2 or 3 years they parse the data, and then basically they're pulling out faces that don't really uh, aren't utilized necessarily. Thanks DDT, appreciate that. Um, and that's what they do. Like so they take faces away. Some players change IDs, like Steven Jackson changed IDs, but his face is still the same. Even though Steven Jackson's one of the retro players that really needs a face update. This is kind of how they go about it. So, um, and then you get a character created face that's generic that looks nothing like Keon Dooling here. If you're going to take the time to do cap creations, at least try to get them close to what the player may look like. Obviously, you can't get it spot on like a face scan, but you can at least get it close to what a actual render would look like. But they don't, so is what it is. But that pretty much wraps up the video. I want to check one other thing here because there was one other piece of news as far as players go. Nothing there, but going over to the Boston Celtics, Damon Stoudemire actually got hired as the Georgia Tech coach. He's still on the Celtics, unfortunately. So, I guess that's a good thing for anybody that wants to use Stoudemire as a player coach in their, fantasy, my era, whatever it is. You could do that. So, surprised also that Joe Mazzulla has not gotten a artist created face like some of the other coaches had in the past, like Taylor Jenkins and guys like that. Will Hardy, obviously. I don't know why he didn't when they knew that he was going to be the head coach, but it is what it is. But anyway, if you like this content, please smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Every time there's a major roster update, ratings update every 2 weeks, or a player likeness update once per month, I'm back here with another video telling you what has changed and what, hasn't changed, what maybe needs to be changed. If there's any retro content added to the game, of course, right away I'll have a video out explaining those changes. But for now, we don't have anything. Still hopeful for that before the end of 2K23, but we will see. So thanks everybody for watching. Really, really appreciate the support for everybody that tuned in. Hope everybody has a great rest of their week and their weekend, and I will catch you next time.